Years ago, short comedy pieces were written differently than now. They were written something like this. A funny writer hammered it out, then an editor or head writer would give it a pass, maybe ask for some changes, then a title would get slapped on it, then a designer would lay it out, and then it would get published. Sometimes it was funny, but more often than not the audience was confused. They'd ask, "What's the story about? Why should I read it?" But it didn't matter. Readers had nowhere else to go. If they wanted to read humor, their only choice was one of two established channels that offered funny writing. One, books from major publishers, and two, national magazines. Short sketches using the same format also appeared on stage and in sketch TV shows, but in terms of the written word, it was a desert out there. These books and magazines were recognized brands. It was nearly impossible to break through their monopoly and reach readers if you weren't already in their exclusive club, and almost no one knew how to break into it. Thankfully, this situation has radically transformed in two major ways. First, there are countless new outlets that publish or present short comedy, and many of them are far more accessible than any in the past. Anyone can publish their work online. Staff writers for well-known comedy brands are on Twitter, and you can ask them questions directly. You can Google how to submit to XYZ publication and find answers from a number of different sources. But it's the second way things are different that I want to focus on. Did you notice the step in the middle of the old process? A title would get slapped on it. This critical link in the chain used to be an afterthought, and it made sense that it was. When books and magazines didn't have any competition, they didn't have to work very hard to compel readers to read their humor. The New Yorker, with its Shouts and Murmurs column, and the Harvard Lampoon may be the only publications that still do things this way. The New Yorker doesn't need to entice anyone to read the Shouts and Murmurs column. They already have millions of readers who all know what to expect from it: a wry, amusing, well-written story in the humor genre. The Harvard Lampoon isn't competing for ad dollars or space on newsstands. They're supported by an endowment and operate as a student project. But wherever else, and I don't just mean other humor publications like Mad, The Onion, and others, I mean the overwhelming majority of outlets offering short comedy, everywhere else is a fevered and desperate attempt to grab the reader's attention. Especially among those without a platform or name recognition, simply presenting stories with no thought to the title is a blueprint for failure. Just about everyone is in the trenches fighting for eyeballs. The lucky few who can grab your attention and keep it might even be able to scratch out a living and, over time, do well. Those who can't are doomed. In the age of the internet and the attention economy, you're fighting to somehow compel readers not only to discover your work, but actually invest the time necessary to read it. That's a lot to ask. Your title is your best chance to wow them because it's the first thing they'll see. It needs to promise a reading experience that will leave them in stitches. Miss that chance, and you'll likely never get another. A particular image, enlarged text at the top of your story, or a myriad other layout tricks might further entice readers to give your writing a try, but you may not have any control, ultimately, over the layout or contextualization of your writing. The design or how pull quotes or images are used will depend on where it's presented. Your title, then, remains the best, most important tool you have to exercise any measure of control over a reader's behavior. A funny title is what you need to get clicks on a funny article. Your title is a beacon to the world, signaling, "Hello out there, I have something you might find funny. Come here, take a look at it. Try the first few lines at least." A title is your one chance to grab attention, so it can't be a dud. Choose the best title in your arsenal and write a comedy piece based on it. Writing a funny piece and then trying to think of a funny title afterwards doesn't work. That's like trying to put a scrambled egg back together. It's far more efficient to come up with a winning concept before investing any precious time writing it up. Funnier writing tip number 3: remember the first laugh. When selecting the one idea to expand into a piece of writing, boredom may set in after you've thought about it for a while. You may get even more bored once you start working on the first lines of the piece. Your writing will start to veer into crazy new directions in order to jazz up what you now find to be a thoroughly boring idea.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.